New today, a survey crew from the National Weather Service's Salt Lake office is in Tooele right now searching for any evidence that they can find as to whether or not a tornado touched down last Thursday. NWS issued a tornado warning last week as that severe thunderstorm was rolling through the Tooele area. At the time, the National Weather Service said that the radar showed rotation, but that does not necessarily mean that a tornado actually touched down or even formed. So that is exactly why they send a survey crew out to assess any damage. Today I spoke with Seth Worthen, he's the head meteorologist over at the office here in Salt Lake, about how crews survey the damage and the evidence, just how rare that event actually is here in Salt Lake, and what forecasters saw on the radar.
One of the first things that we need some evidence that there's damage. Again, tornado warnings are rare, so I would argue most of the time we'd issue one, we'd probably want to go out and try to take a look. But we always appreciate whenever we get pictures or videos that would support, some amount of damage that would give us a reason to say, hey, there's something going on here. We should probably send people out to investigate and see what we could uncover. And then once you get there, you basically want to examine the site. See what kind of damage there is. Is there a path of damage? Is there a wide swath of damage? Some of the evidence for a tornado might be a convergent pattern to the damage. Straight line winds, you might see several trees that are just kind of all blowing down the same way, whereas a tornado, maybe they kind of come together or debris is strewn about in a more kind of haphazard and random pattern. Those are some of the things that you look for. And then you have to start piecing the puzzle together of driving down other roads, talking to people, seeing, how many places or trees it might have damaged to try to get an idea of, okay, is this a cohesive path and a cohesive length? Or is it more just, again, kind of a wide swath of what might be, hit and miss wind damage?
When your teams get out there and when you determine all of the data and study it and look at it before making your decision, there probably, I have to imagine, is a lot that goes into making that final decision, because I'm not a scientist, but I could think, even a straight line wind could blow debris in every which direction. How do you sort of narrow that down?
And that's correct. And that's one of those topics that, there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different things to look at. And it's going to depend on every specific unique event that you might go out and survey. Earlier this year, there was a tornado that a crew went out and surveyed up in the northern Wasatch Mountains. And in that case, there was a good amount of trees and other things that could get hit by a potential tornado that made it, I wouldn't say easier to make the determination, but you had a little bit more to go off of. One of the challenging things with this one that we're investigating over in Tooele County is there's just not as much out there for any wind or possible tornado to hit. A handful of trees, a few buildings, maybe some irrigation equipment. And it's just trying to piece that together the best you can and look to see, is there one piece of overwhelming evidence? Maybe something large and heavy has the evidence that it was picked up and twisted versus just kind of blown over, like a fence, for example.
Seth told me that the team hopes to have a determination maybe later today, possibly tomorrow. That's the hope. And this is a small portion of that in-depth interview. So if you'd like to scan that QR code that you see right there on your screen, it'll take you right to KUTV's YouTube page where you can watch that conversation in its entirety.